Christ, what the actual shit. Wow, okay. I was kind of the bleakly looking at wrapping this up. I had my mind set for that. So evidently we had a over morning coffee. We had a little infusion of action. It went from 5% funded to roughly 62% funded. Special thanks to Demiri, Wesley, Carter, and Caleb who jumped in. I guess my little statement about Gandalf paid off. I don't know how that worked out. Thanks, guys. So there you go. Technically still not funded yet, but like a huge shot in the arm. There's basically 25 hours left-ish, a little over 24 hours. There's still a little ways to go, but 62% funded is pretty amazing. So I guess I'll just put out another video. Help me fix the art on this. That's all that's holding me back. Literally, I've written everything. I want to hire that Italian gent, Mariana Paisan, to... He's done stuff for Free League and other people. I'd love to get him to do some three big nice maps of the regions for this and the up to coming supplements that'll come out. All of the angel investor slots were taken, which is great. One of them I know, it's a man I've worked with in the past named Marcus. He actually was the CEO of a company called Double Critical. They put out the Wizard of Oz campaign supplement, which had a really successful Kickstarter a couple of years ago. Yes, this was theirs, and I helped out on that. But it was like, it's a really good book, and to get his support on this was great. And then I had two more angel investor types. I didn't want a lot of people because I really wanted those positions to be like, if someone liked the idea and wanted to, weigh in, or like, I've got some ideas, but you've like never had time or the motivation to want to do it, or perhaps don't even know how to implement it. Like a lot of people, things that I find effortless, and I say this is like a humble brag. I've been playing RPGs for so long. I used to work in a game store. I've played a lot of different role-playing games and board games and card games and everything. My goal was to have them weigh in on the two new supplements. I've got, technically one's kind of a hybrid. So like I said, this part that we're fixing now, Noctis, is the dark side of the planet. It's eternally in night. It only gets light at all from this like reflected light from the moon. But once you get around the circumference of the planet towards the equator, you start to actually see the light. And there's a supplement I want to put out called the Dawn Shore, which is basically the beginnings of this like oceans and whatnot that are near the middle of the planet. And there's a lot of unbridled nature there. And I was hoping to work with this other GM from RPG Club called the Ginger DM. He has a lot of really good homebrew, and he's made a series of aquatic creatures that I just thought were amazing. And he's mentioned to me like to maybe kind of do a combo where, maybe he can make a new race or whatever. And we were thinking about trying to work on like an aquatic orc, kind of a hybrid orc. But that's not been manifested, mostly because I just didn't think the Kickstarter was going to go anywhere. And then holy shit, I guess we'll need to bring that conversation back up. But beyond that, he's made a bunch of other races, and he's got his own books that he's going to put out. I don't want to step on his toes for that, but it would be great to incorporate some of those character classes or monsters in the book and kind of do a joint with him. It'd be awesome. But also it needs to talk about the moon. The moon is actually another series of adventures that you can possibly get to. In fact, even in the back of the Noctis book, there's a chance that if you survive to a certain point, you have the option to maybe go there. It's the sci-fi element. Most people just do horror, and that's it. But I think there needs to be a good sci-fi element in any good horror thing that you put forth. Around the southern pole, that's completely facing Solthane, the sun of this little region, it is constantly blasted by this radiation. There's no, water. It's a harsh environment. All these things that you kind of take for granted as players. You're like, oh, I can create Heroes Feast, and I can do yada, 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 I don't know of any game really other than like maybe Dark Sun, but in that regard, there's still kind of like workarounds, and I find most games kind of get away from resource management. If you kind of factor in the idea that, if you don't want to deal with it, you're just going to die. High level play on that side of the planet is the focus of Solthane's Anvil, and the idea that you will need those, you're going to have to absorb those spell slots to basically try and make things survivable. It's such a harsh environment that you can't survive. Like the air almost kind of too thin, and there's different types of vapors of that side of the planet as the heat is changing the environment so drastically that you need magic in order to survive. So spells like air bubble would be helpful. But beyond that, just being able to create and craft food. Good berry wasn't work. What plants are living there? What could possibly survive? So you have to find a way to create plants in some kind of environment. And on that side of the planet too, I wanted to pull in some stuff that I think D&D WotC has not. They've kind of strayed away from. I mentioned it before. There hasn't been a new archdevil in a while. Like I think Descent to Avernus was pretty great. There was the prospect of that, but that's not really an archdevil. It's like a spoiler alert. There's an angel that can kind of like go evil, and you as the player have aspects like you have autonomy to make that happen. There's a little bit of power the party has to kind of either make that happen or to fill that role. But that's not the same thing as like crafting and making an actual archdevil, and like this is now their plane, and that's what the angel investors. I would want to be talking with them about that and craft this new evil, someone that would have been within the nine hells that found a breach over to Noctis because of these warps and tears in the prime material plane from this radiation of the sun, these thin veiled moments that this individual who was probably under, Asmodeus or Beelzebub's thumb, or, from Dees or Galatia's territories or whatever, just managed to break through. And now they have this opportunity in a virgin land. Is like, this is mine. They stake their claim and are slowly kind of crafting things that work in the realm. And also the idea of putting in a few new artifacts. I don't know that we've had many artifacts added into the realm. We keep recycling the old ones, like the Hand of Vecna just keeps getting reused over and over and over. I worked with Joe Manganiello a long time ago when he was first getting his start. I was still doing onset dressing at the time. That guy's huge. I mean, if you've never met him in person, he's a big man. And evidently he's the smallest of his brothers. Like I think one of his brothers played for like the Steelers. Just good genes. Anyways, but yeah, like since that time the Hand of Vecna got like, oh, that's awesome, and then just Watts kept like diving into it. Let's go over some new ground here. Let's make a new couple of artifacts, things that kind of can spark imagination and get things going. Something that people can quest for, that may fit into a different lore, and talk about different types of races of people. I've kind of been thinking about the Modrons. They're a little comical and crazy, but the Slod actually kind of come from that, strangely enough. So you've got these kind of comical, weird Modron characters that are just like shapes, but also like this kind of technology. And strangely enough, they are also the genus for the birthing of the Slod, which are arguably one of the most interesting villain type creatures. And I find they're underutilized most of the time. Like you very rarely see them in modules, mostly because I think the genus of how they were created is a little up in the air. And they just made them, and they're evil, and they make no excuses for it. But yeah, the Slod were there, and now they're a pain. That once again, what the fuck? Like, why not actually just craft a really good, rich backstory about how the Slod came into being? And so I kind of have been thinking about how to do that, and I'm just gonna make it better. Anyway, that's a lofty goal. Let's make some artifacts that kind of go into the lineage of usually races or people. The idea that we've got a new archdevil that would show up, or this moon base, which will invariably get into spell jamming, so you can kind of see where that might go into. So there can be more things maybe with wild spacers or devils, or perhaps fallen angels, or for that matter, dead defunct gods, or gods that might be crazy. And let's dip into limbo a little bit as well. There's ways to pull in new possible artifacts or magic items that kind of dip into these realms that were probably underdeveloped. And I think we, with these new angel investors, have a real good chance to make some really refreshing and new stuff that gamers might find very interesting. And you put a whole campaign around it, or at least dip into it and find it, and at least spice up whatever campaign you already have. And that's the one thing I like to give, is I like to give people just options, as well as like really rich stuff that they can pull in. Just take what you want, and trash the rest of it that doesn't work for you. I guarantee you're going to find stuff, as well as some game mechanics that I think will work out really, really well, that you could cannibalize and make your own games a little spicier. Yeah, I'm riding a high. Thanks, guys. This is ridiculous. Don't know if we'll still make the our goal of 18.2, but it's really helpful to get like some kind of reaffirming support. It always feels good. Why wouldn't it feel good? Man, time to make the donuts.